SMEs form the very foundation of our country's economic backbone. And the SBI General Insurance SME Awards are a platform designed to celebrate their success stories. In the Curtain Raiser episode, the MD and CEO of SBI General Insurance, Bhushan Mahapatra, is in conversation with Times Network's Mihir Bhatt to shed more light on the initiative and the dynamics shaping India's larger SME landscape.
Welcome to this special episode of SBI General Insurance SME Awards in association with Times Network. We have a very special guest with us. We have MD and CEO of SBI General Insurance, Mr. Bhushan Mahapatra with us. Sir, thank you so much for joining us. And first of all, I must congratulate you for launching this initiative with Times Network. It is, I think, more than anything else, it's a very critical initiative for a country like India, where the whole SME ecosystem happens to be the second largest employer after agriculture. You have been in the industry for many years. At this point, what is your take? Because you know, there are concerns about the economic slowdown and the growth prospects. Now, SMEs and MSMEs as an ecosystem, it forms a very important pillar of the overall growth story that India is looking at. So first of all, what's your macro view on the situation right now?
What we hear from the ground is that there are challenges, but again, I look at it in a slightly different manner, in the sense that every such challenge is a new opportunity. It's an opportunity to find new business models, new opportunities for businesses, and that is what is happening. If you see, even in this era where people are talking that there's a lot of downturn and other things, new businesses are coming in, and that is what holds a lot of promise for future. Yes, the current challenges are there, and challenges will always remain, but our aim should be, am I moving towards a better future? And that is something that MSMEs will have to play a very large role in that. Right. In the sense that today they are such a large part of the business, we just can't afford
to ignore them.
To ignore them or for them to go down. But in this, while I travel the country quite extensively, we're coming across some very, very interesting SME businesses, which perhaps 5 years back did not exist. And they're reimagining some of the business models. Like logistics is something which is very, very traditional in nature.
Right.
They've been there right since there were things to be transported or people to be transported. But today we are finding startups getting into the space and making a big difference using technology, making the businesses more scalable, more efficient, and therefore greater demand for their services. So the challenge in this time is to find those new business models with better technology, better compliance, and better skills. Because these are three basic pillars for an SME. And credit is often spoken about that it is in short supply and other things, access to credit. If we are able to tackle some of these issues, I think access to credit will not be as constrained as it is made out to be today.
Also, do you expect actually the business to pick up more as we move forward? Because, I mean, the way I look at it, there are two opportunities. One is the sheer scale and size of the entire SME ecosystem in a country like India. And second is, even within the insurance universe in the country, you know, there is a huge gap or margin, I would say, between life and non-life insurance category, if you look at the categories.
Yes.
So, will these two factors actually act as a sort of, booster for the overall general insurance industry in the country?
Okay. Coming to the insurance industry, and more particularly the general insurance industry, the penetration levels in India are abysmally low.
Right.
Be it in any line, starting with property, it's estimated that India is underprotected to the extent of almost 80% across corporate and retail. Retail is even worse, where just about 3% of the houses in India are insured. the large corporates do their insurances in a very scientific way, and they're reasonably well covered. MSMEs, it's a challenge. There are two challenges there. One is on the availability of insurance, and second is the adequacy of insurance. And this we see every year when there is a natural calamity in the country or there's a large fire incident, that either the SMEs do not have insurance or it is grossly inadequate. We've seen, I've been now with the company for more than 5 years.
Right.
And every incident that I have seen over the last 5 years rising out of a natural catastrophe, we found that in the units which have insurance, we've seen under insurance even to the extent of 50 to 60%. So that really does not help the sector.
Correct.
So one of the messages that needs to be really going down to the MSMEs is protect yourself adequately on all your risks, be it on property, on your health, motor, or any other product. Similarly for the retail, please protect all that which is very dear to you. Your homes, vehicles get insured because they are mandatory in nature. Homes are not.
Correct.
Take care of your health. Medical inflation, the way it is rising, it does put you out of pocket if there is a large health issue. Please protect yourself. Therefore, the opportunity for the non-life sector is immense. And if you see the growth of the non-life sector, it's been fairly flat over the last decade or so, ranging between 12 to 15%.
Right.
But for a country of India's size, it should be much, much higher. So we, as an organization, set ourselves a target that we should be growing double of that of the industry. Because given our brand, our distribution reach, plus products and our claim settlement ratios, we should be doing much, much better than the industry. So it's been the case over the last 7-8 years that we have been writing business in India, that we have been outstripping industry growth by more than 100% year on year.
So will technology play a crucial role in sustaining this momentum as far as your growth rate vis-a-vis the industry growth rate is concerned?
Data is a prime driver for insurance.
Right.
More closely that you analyze data, spot opportunities, better you are. And this has been from times immemorial because insurance business depends on actuarial sciences to a very large extent.
Correct.
So data is our raw material. Technology, yes. The way technology has been coming into this industry globally and of course China has been the biggest user of technology in insurance. It is something that will grow much more. It's being helped with the use cases in artificial intelligence, machine learning, cloud. All of it is coming in a big way and supporting the growth of business in India.
In a very short span, if you look at the overall, I would say, growth trajectory of SBI General Insurance, it has actually outperformed the industry and by a huge margin, like you rightly said. Now, obviously, SMEs as an ecosystem play a very crucial part in this growth story. So if you can throw some light on that. One is, how is the sector performing within your overall, I would say, growth plans? And second is, what is your outlook in terms of their behavior in the changing environment that we are in, including the technology adoption that is happening at various levels?
One, it forms a very critical part of our business. Growth rates in SME have been much higher than our company growth rates. Even this year, they're growing at about 60% plus.
That's quite impressive.
Yeah,
actually.
and today we are the largest insurer to the MSME segment.
Correct.
Technology is also bringing in new risks, be it cyber, be it change in building materials. Because say 10 years back, you did not use as much plastics in building than you are doing today.
Correct.
So if there's a fire incident, it becomes much more difficult to control today than it was 15 years back.
Correct.
We've seen that happening. And with these fires, it generates so much of heat that even the structures collapse.
That's true.
So, therefore, the risks have changed, pricing changes, and your safety features also will change. So, that is something that the MSMEs have to take into account, is to build a better safety culture. And it doesn't take too much in building safety culture, but as a nation, we are not very safety conscious.
Yeah.
Means for us, firefighting equipment becomes more of a hygiene and compliance issue rather than a safety issue.
Correct.
So that's something that behavioral changes to adopt safe business practices in terms of worksite safety and other things becomes very critical.
Right. If I look at the government policies, in fact, and you know, I must compliment you because overall the insurance sector has been one of the few sectors which has shown very consistent, I would say, growth potential in last 2-3 years when rest of the economy has been struggling, especially post some of the disruptions that the economy went through. I mean, be it FDI in insurance companies or other policy changes that government is bringing in. So what is your take, you know, in next 2-3 years, if you look at the overall insurance industry and especially the general insurance part of it, are they going to be one of the best years in terms of putting the whole growth story back on track?
Like one, if we talk about the regulations, between 2015 and 2017, the industry went through a lot of regulatory changes.
Correct.
From 2017 till end of last year, there were a lot of changes on the motor side, especially the long-term motor policies. I think now we have come to a fairly stable regulatory regime.
Correct.
And it's very positive. Positive for the consumer because a lot of the regulator is also bringing in a lot of transparency in the products.
Correct.
In terms of standardizing wording, standardizing exclusions, which gives a better experience to the customer. Because ultimate proof of the pudding is when there's a claim and it is to be settled.
Correct.
So as we move towards more transparent policy wordings and pricing, it will help the industry, it will help the consumer, and therefore the consumer's trust on the industry will increase, and that will help propelling the next phase of growth.
If we focus on you know, your business, for SBI General Insurance, which are 3 major focus areas going forward, where you feel personally that you need to focus to the maximum extent to actually convert the growth possibility into a reality?
Looking at the potential, our distribution reach, I would say our headline 3 lines of business as we speak would be home, health and SME.
Okay.
Because that is where the maximum protection gap is there. For the last couple of years, we have been actually working on it. It's a continuous improvement year on year, but these are the 3 headline numbers on home, health and SME. And our entire strategy actually gets built on home, health and SME.
Right.
Because the larger corporates have access and they are able to manage. But SME is something that we will have to handhold and make them better protected.
How are they behaving? Because we have seen a lot of changes in the way an insurance product is bought, and a lot of new traffic actually is moving on digital platforms. When it comes to SMEs as a category, how are they behaving in this changing trend?
Yeah, the digital movement is more pronounced in retail lines, the consumer, direct consumer facing. By and large, the commercial lines, which includes SME, is more bespoke.
Right.
So a lot of face-to-face interaction is required because you have to understand the risk. Having said that, people are much more cognizant of the fact that they need to take insurance to protect their cash flows. And that's what is driving the growth in this segment. It's also bringing in better safety practices, better manufacturing practices into the, which is very good and which will make them actually future-proof.
Are you doing, which are the different initiatives that you as an industry leader within this segment would like to undertake or have undertaken? Because the way I look at it, the whole SME ecosystem within itself is so diverse.
Absolutely.
That you can't treat everybody with same parameters or same formula. So, which are those 2-3 main focus areas or initiatives that you are focusing on to connect with them, engage with them, educate them?
See, you have a whole spectrum of SMEs, right from the very small one-man show kind of thing to SMEs who are almost on the borders of being a mid-corporate.
Correct.
So one of the initiatives which we started about 4 years back was to have a customized product for this very small SMEs. Here it's just a 3-click sale.
Okay.
That's it. That's it. Just have to understand his address, his sum insured, and we'll insure it.
Okay.
This is for the very small ones where we felt that given the spread of the risk all over the country, we can manage it because of the spread. Because ultimately insurance is where law of large numbers come in.
Yeah.
So more the numbers, you are able to manage the portfolio much better.
The risk. Yeah.
And this has worked very well for us.
Okay.
About 30% of my SME book comes from this single product.
Oh, okay.
So I give him a fairly comprehensive product and coverage with minimal data requirements.
Okay.
So that was one very big change that happened in the industry. Then our continuous engagement with the various SME forums, associations, educating them on the need for appropriate and adequate insurance. Third is standing by our commitment that we are there for them at the time of need in terms of very quick settlement of SME claims. Because you have to back it up with actual performance.
Correct, that's true.
So that's been our 3 very major this thing. Even in claims, we have a system of very fast track claim settlement for the small claims.
Okay.
So many of the small claims, say up to 5 lakhs or 10 lakhs, we are able to settle across the table. In fact, we send the surveyors into that area. They do spot surveys and settle it.
Right. I'm assuming that the SME Awards initiative also must be a result of one of such initiatives or
I think it's, thanks to Times Now, I think it's been a joint initiative on that. It's I think, as close to your heart as it is to ours. To move that, and I think it's a wonderful opportunity to bring this to the community that you need to be protected. Because ultimately, SMEs also suffer from one problem, that their own capital base is small. And in case of an adversity where the cash flow stops, they are not in a position to get back.
Right.
If through insurance we are able to restore that cash flow in the shortest possible times, we actually give them the second lease of life.
That's true. And I think that recognition is important somewhere for SMEs also to at least aspire and get in the main league of I would say companies or corporates and that ecosystem.
And we've seen large number of SMEs actually scaling up and doing some wonderful work.
Right.
And that's, I think, the idea about recognizing those people who have done extraordinary things in the SME space.
I'm sure it's going to be a great success, and in fact, we look forward to have a very successful awards initiative as well. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you
It's a
so
pleasure
much.
having you on the show.
Thank you.